And here I am. So what we need to do is to determine which one of these three is the bridge, the middle and the neck. And then we take this fantastic crap diagram here. That's any old diagram, basically it's the original. And we solder the wires in place, and that's not really too difficult, so I'm going to solder them in place now. But just before I do that, I wanted to talk about the end of the wires. Yeah, they are. You know, this is this sort of pullback type. Well, it does pull back. I think you can do it too much. But when you're going to solder some wiring, what you want to do, for example, if it's got to fit in one of these here, you need to get what they call a mechanical connection. Don't just bodge it through and quick solder and think that's it. That's not the answer. The real trick is to push it through and bend it round so that it's tight with some, I don't know, snout nose pliers or something, so that it's tight before you solder it. So if there wasn't any solder on there, chances are it wouldn't be that great, but it certainly wouldn't pull out either. The reason you do that is that you're making sure there's a really good connection of these two before you do it. Makes sense, doesn't it? In fact, that's what they always taught me. It's to make sure that the connections are awesome before you finally solder it. Obviously, in the case of something that's going to go on there, I won't do that. Another thing I won't do on this guitar is to cut these wires, because these are off those really great humbuckers. Sorry, humbuckers, silly boy. These are off those Antiquity pickups. And what we don't want to do is to really cut these short. They devalue everything if ever you come to pull them off and sell them. So I'm not going to cut them short. They've already been cut a little bit shorter on that middle one. But apart from that, everything's nice. So I'm going to solder these in place, and then we'll come back and take another look. How's that? See you in a minute. Okay, well, what we've got now is we've got the thing all sort of wired into place. You can see everything's rocking and rolling, everything's nice and shiny. We'll solder on, a bit much solder on that one maybe, but it's okay. They're all in place, they're all quite safe at that. And one of the things you notice is if you look at these things, they're all really nice and bright, and that's how yours should be, not covered in you know, loads of rubbish and dirt and things like that. You can see I've put this in place ready. It's ready just to screw in, so that's going to be screwed in next. I've run this wire through, you can see this one for the bridge, sorry, for the tremolo, and that'll be the ground, so just saves you getting killed really. And I put a capacitor in there. There's the capacitor, 0.47 per electric guitar, all parts, nits, talks, rambles on about, I don't know, something. It's not the most neat wiring in there, but it will work. It all fits in place quite nice. It could be down at the bottom there. And I haven't had to cut many wires, which is the main thing really that I wanted to achieve. So I'm just going to tidy that back up for now, and I'll be back in a minute. And there's the finished article in place. I put a washer and a nut on the inside as well, actually, just to back it off a bit from sticking out too much at the front. And I made sure that these two wires don't actually touch this copper anywhere. So that's it, all in place, all very nice, ready to move on to the next bit, which will be the tremolo. First thing on that is to get the claw installed really, I guess. There's the claw, fits in there. We're going to do that next. Well, as you can see, I fitted the claw in. It isn't fully tightened up yet, and I soldered this thing on the ground wire onto the claw. I've also fitted the bridge actually, so let's turn it over and I'll just show you that. Okay, on this guitar it's not really rocket science, but what you've got with the bladerunner is you've got 4 holes instead of 6. But what you find is the bridge can actually move right and left a little bit. So what you do is you put your strings on, just have these just slack enough so we can move this a little bit, and then just nip them up. Don't over tighten them off, you strip them. If you strip them, you've got some trouble. So just make them just so they're nipped. They're not getting anywhere once they're held in position. This one's held in position. I haven't done the final adjustments, but there it is. I'm just going to flip it over and put the strings, really the strings on. Oops, don't knock the camera. If we flip it back over, there you can see. Let me just bring the camera over a bit. Whoops, let's go the other way. There you go. There you can see where they've got to go. There's, oops, 3 of them. 1, 2 and 3, that's all they provide. And basically, you hook on there and hook in there, which is not that easy to do. So we'll do it the other way around. That one's stretching up there. Well, clearly that's too far. So what we've got to do is back these back off. Just slack these off a bit. It's easy enough. I'll do for now. Sure, one way or another we can make them fit. There's one in the middle. That's 2. And one down here. Oops, do not knock the camera, do we? Just bear with me a second. And that's one way of doing it. That's 3. That's how I'd put them on. All looks good, keep the wires out of the way. We can turn it over and have a check. Let's have a look. All looks exactly the same. Keep all your bits out of the way, you don't want to damage your guitar. This just pushes in, or it's supposed to. Yeah, there it goes. We'll just whiz this up now. Oop, tight. Not slacking a bit, so I'm just going to turn it over and just do a quick slack. I'll do. At least it will for now. There you go. Better. Feels quite good actually. There you go. First time it's been used. Okay guys, what I did is just put it back in for a moment. And what I like to do is just put a bit of that underneath there, just for now, so it don't damage anything. Okay, now I've fitted this back cover on. What we need to do is just drill some holes, so all nice and easy, nice simple drill. Don't get it wrong, just get it centralised up. There's one. That's 2. 3, and the last one down here. So then the pilot holes run. All you need to do now is take that off, clean the dust off, put your gold screws in and you've got the back on. Okay, simple as that, and there's the finished job. Fitted on. Done and dusted. It probably works. We'll be testing that in a short while. If it doesn't, it's only 4 screws. It's not like a scratch plate on a real Strat, is it? Or is it a real Strat? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Who knows? We'll see. Well, here I am again. Cat guitar, tremolo fitted, which is a, what's it say it is? It's a bladerunner. Wow. I don't know why I bought it, but there you go. Decent pickups, nice finish. Shame about the neck pocket, but we'll come back to that later. Strings done, people yapping in the background, it's all great, it's all rock and roll. So what we're going to move on to now is the assembly and the set. Well, not the assembly. We're going to move on to the setup. That's what we're going to do. Isn't this exciting? Or is it? I don't know. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that completely, but I think you look on the left hand side of the screen and you'll see the first string is pretty much spot on its position, and the one on the right hand side, which is the sixth string, that's also pretty much spot on, and they're fitting right over the pickups and the rest. So next thing I'm going to do is adjust the heights a little bit on that brand new bridge, which is basically there. If we just zoom into that a little bit, oops, you can see it's pretty high up, and that's the next thing to do. So I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll show you afterwards. You just adjust the little ups and downs, and let's go from there. Well, here we are with the strings fitted. You can see that action isn't bad. It isn't as low as it could be, but I can adjust that even further. Remember, I had this neck sunk in to the body. Down here you can see that it's really quite low in the body. So you need a bridge, or should I say a tremolo, call it a tremolo in this case, that actually can get down to the lows. Let me zoom out a little bit. And if you look at the tremolo, you'll find that this tremolo is actually set quite low. Let me adjust the camera a little bit, and then we'll zoom. Oops. Yeah, enjoy the trip. Yeah, let me just tighten that back up, guys. Like I said, you can see that the tremolo is adjusted quite low on these adjusters, and that's basically because this neck's lower than it should be on a regular Strat. I don't know why I got my hand in the way, do you? But don't worry, we'll get there in the end. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, like I said, it's all to do with the overall height. Now the thing is, when you're looking at the neck, bring this round again. When you're looking at the neck and you're looking at those strings, you can see that these sort of have a nice arch. These two at this end maybe wanting down a bit more, maybe that one a little bit more too, but these three at this end are pretty much, for my sort of playing, are good. You don't want them too low, because then you'll get all the buzzes and the rest. Now we haven't set the intonation yet, we're just setting the heights, and checking whether the strings are good for the length, which they are. There's no offset at either side, and these although these are low, you can actually see, if you look down here, you can actually see that it's a sort of oval, just like the keyboard, just like that slight oval that you really want. And I've got to bring it up to tune, and we'll work on the intonation after. Obviously we've got to plug it in and make sure that it does actually play, because it hasn't had that done either yet. So let's recap. What have we got to do? We've got to bring it up to tune, play around with this a little bit, make sure that these are really as we want them. Bring that one slightly low, I don't know, that's not too bad. And then we can look towards the intonation, and on this guitar it should be quite good. It all looks pretty cool. That's one of the things I noticed about the bladerunner, although there's no totally set thing with these sort of things. When it got to me, the adjustments on the trem for the individual strings, saddles, was set up how you'd expect to see it, and that's usually the first three go in a bit, and then the second three hop out a little bit there, and then go in again like that. So it's exactly what I'd expect to see. The intonation might not be exactly correct, because there's been a lot of work done on this guitar, but I suspect it won't be that far out, so it will be just a question of a little bit of tweaking, and away we go. Now I did cover that on the previous Strat I built, the intonation thing, but I'll cover it again on this a little bit later. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this thing up to tune, and make some adjustments to the trem so that that's working nice for me. It may not work nice for you, but it's working nice for me. Now I'll have a look at the pickups. Although the pickups are not really that close, they're not that far off either, and I don't really want to get them too close. I just want a decent result, and it's beginning all to come together really, really nice. Probably as good a Strat as I've ever sort of built. There were some funnies on building this one too, but we'll come back to that in the summary at the end. That's it for now. I'm going to go and tune it up and adjust the trem, with the two screws on the back. See you in a minute. I've adjusted the string thingies at this end, I've adjusted the pickups a little bit higher. This one higher, this one a bit higher, this one where it was, I didn't take that too far. I just do the string heights, so you've got this oval that we were talking about. And really, it's completely in tune. And the first thing I noticed about this guitar, bear in mind it's got locking tuners at the top, it's got the, you know, the string roller nut, and it's got this thing down at the bottom here that they say stays in tune like you wouldn't believe, this bladerunner. It's on there, looks good. I always have it set it so it just pulls back just a tiny little bit. If you look at that, let's see if we can get in a bit nearer that. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. Let's just have a look. And if we zoom in a bit, you'll see that it doesn't really go back very far. That's easy enough to adjust. There you are, taking it back. Just that little bit. You might be able to hear it. Doesn't go back very far. That's just great for me. And one thing you can tell by this guitar how good it's going to be is just play it absolutely unplugged, just sitting on the bench, and that'll ring for ages. Listen, still going. Do you not feel it? It's still going. That's amazing. Actually, it's just about stopping now. That's one of the most resonant guitars I've ever played. Quite incredible. And my friends, here is the very first tones out of the guitar. It works. Okay, we've got more to do. I'm back. Once again, before we finish off here, what we've got to do is we've got to do another very important thing, and that is to fit these little suckers. What are these? Well, when you spent all this money on this guitar, what you're going to do is lend it to your mate, and he's going to drop it. No, actually, that's just a private joke. Somebody will get that somewhere. I know. How you doing, mate? You know what I mean. Anyway, the point is, when you fit these, you're not going to drop it, because it can't come off. Now, I opted for the Fender ones. You might not. They're a bit bulky and chunky and things, but I like big ones. So these are what are going to go on here, and all we're going to do is drill the hole and fit them, and then I'll feel much better. When we've done that, what we're going to move on to do is to do a bit of intonation. Sounds good, it's a great word. Intonation, yeah. And then that's nearly it. It's nearly ready to rock and roll, and I'll be plugging it in, and you'll be having a listen. Whoa, that's scary. Seeing them in. Oh, let me get this. So here we go. All I did was put a bit of masking tape over here, and I'm going to drill a straight hole in. Notice the word straight hole in there, and then I'm going to be fitting this little, where have I gone? This little sucker here in the hole, and then I'll feel much better. And I'm going to do the same to the back. So let's just drill that and see where we go. Let's move this chair out of the way. See, it's just like being at home. Actually, it is at home. Now the drill I've got is the old famous one. I've just marked it off so far down because I don't want to drill all the way through to the back of the guitar, do I? And what I want is I want to get this really nice in the middle and drill it straight. What I do when I get the drill right, there we go, in the middle. To be honest, that'll probably do it. Let's have a look at the screw. Maybe a bit further. Don't worry about the bit of paper, that doesn't really matter. So that's that done. All we do is peel this off. It wasn't difficult, was it? And now it's just a simple matter of screwing the screw into the hole. I need to put a screwdriver here, I don't know what to say. That's fantastic. What you have got to do is you've got to get it straight when you screw it in. You don't want it getting all over the show. You want it to be straight. The straighter you do this, the better the result. And you want a decent screwdriver that really fits the socket. Otherwise it can be a bit of trouble. But don't let it slip out, otherwise everybody's going to laugh at you later. That's not quite tight enough. Make sure it's tight enough, but I wouldn't overdo it. That's that one. What we're going to do is turn the guitar around and show you how to do the other one. Guys, you couldn't see what I was doing. Okay, well, I've drilled the hole here, just the same as I did the other one. And all we do, basically, is screw this into the hole. You don't want to let the guitar go anywhere. And you do want to get it straight, because here it matters. Keep your screwdriver in there. Decent screwdriver, decent result. Rubbish screwdriver, rubbish result. That's that. And again, you take it until it's tight. Go on half a job here. Okay, that's it. Solid as a rock. It doesn't even move. And that's exactly what you need here. That to be as solid as a rock. These things then fit on the guitar strap. But for now, you can just push them onto your guitar so you can't lose them. I'll do the other one. And that was fitting the strap box. Easy peasy. But I tell you what, if you get it wrong, you're going to look bad. So take your time and get it right. I've done them before. You probably haven't. Well, now we're getting nearer and nearer to that magic moment where we plug in. For real, that is. But first of all, what we really want to do is to get the intonation on this thing the way we want it. Because intonation matters. Well, what's intonation about? A lot of guys wonder what that is. Well, it's in tune, isn't it? Well, of course it is. I've just done it. But if you actually play a chord up the neck, that chord in relation to where the strings are in tune down here, if the intonation's wrong, what happens basically is the chord's out of tune. Although the guitar's in tune, of course putting your fingers in different places changes things. So intonation, by adjusting these string saddles here, backwards and forwards, can make it sound nicer. In fact, it can make it sound in tune when you press the strings down. It all relates to the height of the strings, the length of this, which is 25.5 inches from down this end that you can't see to this end here that you can see. And it's important to get it right. And we can do it with the tuner, and it's a piece of cake. So here goes. Okay, so what you should have is you should have a situation where you strike the string. Should be pretty much level, yeah. And then what you do is just harmonic it. It should be the same, and it is. you go. To sum up, Carter Strat cat. I've done that one before. I thought it was quite good. It sounds better here than it does in there, where you are, in the fishbowl. Absolutely. And I don't know, I'd have paid a lot more money for that thing than I ended up paying for it. Of course, it would have been a little bit better if I had got everything what I ordered, which I didn't. And some of the things that they sent weren't just quite right. So you have to be prepared for that. Okay, it isn't exactly what I wanted, but it's pretty near. You can't really get to grips with it from where you are, like I said. Where I am, it's a pretty good guitar. In fact, it probably sounds it's sort of similar to the brown one, the previous one, the version 1. But I think the version 1's more of a bluesy thing, and I think if I had this one out with all the pedals and the rest, and you know, that sort of stuff, the wah-wah and all them things that go with that, it probably sounded even better. But I couldn't be arsed, if you want the truth. I haven't got the time at the minute, and so I just did what I did. Playing isn't perfect, never is from me, unless you buy the records, then it's perfect. Yeah, that's another story. Nobody buys them, do they? Yeah, so there you have it, and there's the video, and it took me 3.5 weeks to make overall, and that wasn't 3.5 weeks of work, that was 3.5 weeks waiting for people to mess around to get me the bits that I'd paid for. Fancy that. So watch for that. Have a go yourself. It isn't really that hard. Even this one was a totally customized thing, and not really like a regular Strat. Regular Strat's much easier to build. You look at the previous one, the previous build that I did, you'll see what I mean. On this one, it was far more complex, and I have to be honest, there were a few things that made me grit my teeth, because I thought I was going to do some real damage. No. As it happens, I didn't do any damage at all. I did exactly what I should have done. Take your time. You know, treat the build serious, and you end up with a great guitar. Don't do a single thing that you're not sure of. If you're not sure, get on the internet, take a look, check my videos, check everybody else, and away you go. Anyway, good luck. I hope you build your dream Strat soon. You may well do, sooner than you think. Or of course you can go out and, you know, pay triple or quadruple the price of what the guitar's worth and buy a Fender. Nothing wrong in that. I like Fenders. I've got a sort of, you know, £1,000 Fender myself. White one, you know, I want it to be Jimi Hendrix, but I haven't got the talent or the ability. So don't worry, neither of you. I should be Jimi Hendrix, wouldn't you? So don't worry, it's great fun. You can have a fantastic experience building a Strat. Anyway, you don't want to see any more of me. Now sod off.